everything that you're thinking that's impossible is possible, but you're telling yourself it's impossible. That $1 million of commission, bro, practice, you fail, you practice, you fail. That's how I made my first million. I was 21 years old.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of More Than a Sale, where it's not just about the successes, it's about the struggles, the sorrows, the heartbreaks. And today we have one such individual that has defied all odds to become a successful human being. Not only is he a $1 billion agent with a $1 billion plan, he is now taking the healthcare industry by storm. I have Bikram Dosanjh here with me. Bikram, how are you, brother?
I mean, I've been busy, bro. I started in real estate when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
0 deals. No one's buying a house with me. It's crazy how life happens. 2 friends come, book 3 condos.
Wow.
I realized, like, holy shit, I just made like 50 grand. Being the best version of yourself, improving every single day, being able to inspire and motivate other people, that's my definition of success, man. If you can touch somebody's life and they can become a better version of themselves, that's a priceless feeling. Real estate's not for me. You start thinking maybe I should go back to school. It's not that real estate doesn't work. It's that you're not going to work because you're not doing the right things to become successful. So if you're a realtor out there right now and you're watching this, have a realistic goal, but have a goal that scares you. Have a goal that makes you work for it. And I'll tell you, we're in a bad market. That's where you build a name for yourself. I'm a person that sees an opportunity. If I can act on this opportunity, guess what? You're the one that builds the trend.
I have Bikram Dosanjh here with me. Bikram, how are you, brother?
Ron, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. Listen, it's been such a hot minute since we've connected.
Yeah,
We've been
planning this for a while. We've been friends for years.
I know, and seeing your journey, seeing your hustle, it's inspiring, and it's so hard to miss you on social media these days because you're literally everywhere, and your energy is in an all-time high. What are you up to? What are you doing these days, man?
I mean, I've been busy, bro.
Yeah.
I've been really busy. You know, I started in real estate when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the story there. But about 1.5 years ago, I transitioned into building a brand here in the Toronto market and mainly in Canada because I realized there was a major opportunity. And just like when I started pre-con back in 2010, you got to remember at that time, pre-con wasn't something that people did. Pre-con wasn't something that an agent got licensed for and said, I want to do pre-con.
Yeah.
It was something that I also saw an opportunity in. And you know what happened by 2015. Anyone that was involved in the game at that time absolutely killed it, right? I saw the exact same opportunity in this new business. And, you know, the proof is in the pudding. 1 year later, we've scaled this thing to and we'll get into the numbers, but it's big. So I've been very busy there.
Let's talk a little bit about your real estate side because that's really, you know, what made you and put your name out there on a very large 100%. Scale, if I may say so. Not only have you helped a lot of families and helped a lot of clients with investments, you yourself are a personal investor. You own a really good deal of real estate as well from our conversations of hanging out. How old were you when you got your license? You said you were 18 years old.
So the story goes like this.
Tell me, break it down for me.
Okay, so I'll even go back to when I was a kid.
Sure.
So when I was a kid, I was not the best kid in school.
All right.
You know, I was not like good when it came to grades and stuff like that, but I was always ambitious. I was always driven. I always wanted to be successful. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, whatever that meant, right? I remember even, you know, setting up a lemonade stand by a church near where we used to live and selling lemonade, right? And then at that point, I remember just random hustles. Like this is when Kijiji became a thing. Not Kijiji. What's the other app? LimeWire.
Yeah.
Remember LimeWire? I
remember LimeWire.
Right. So I used
to BearShare, LimeWire. Yeah, there's a combination of those.
So I used to, you know, even download tracks, burn them onto a CD.
Yeah.
Duplicate the CDs to like 100 CDs and sell them in school.
Wow.
Right. So I used to do all that type of stuff. So I was always entrepreneurial. Right. I feel like that comes from just being in a family where my dad was an entrepreneur. Right. And my mom never pushed us to, you know, you got to become a lawyer or you got to become a doctor. Most, you know, Indian parents do. Right.
Yeah.
However, they always wanted me to become educated because, you know, you come to this country and the most important thing to any immigrant family is for their kids to, you know, have good education and have a stable family, stable life, right? However, I went to York U. This was 2008. I went for criminology, wanted to be a lawyer. I honestly did. And a lot of wanting to become a lawyer was I enjoyed what lawyers did, but in my mind, it was like, okay, lawyers can make some pretty good income.
Yeah.
It was always a income.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where my brain was always focused on.
Yeah.
But York University is a blessing in disguise because they went on strike. They went on strike 2 weeks in. I think at that time it was like a 2-month strike.
Yeah, it was a big strike.
It was
I remember
a big strike,
that. Yeah.
Right. So everything kind of happens. Like I never thought I was going to get into real estate.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, you know, that was my plan. When the strike happens, I happen to just be going with my dad, you know, to different events in the community. I always tagged along with my dad, right? And I just remember looking at people in the Punjabi community, in the Indian community that were successful uncles, and they were all in real estate. They were all driving an S550. And for me, that was my dream car when I was a kid. I always wanted, you know, the big Benz, right? And then I started to realize, I'm like, honestly, it started like this. I'm like, Ron, if they can do it, no offense to some of them, right? I give them a lot of respect, but I'm like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? 100% I can do it.
Yeah.
And I decided that day that I'm going to get into real estate. I took the time that strike lasted to enroll in my exams. In those days, it was 3 exams. So I started studying for real estate, got into real estate, but I promised my mom I would finish school.
Yeah.
So now the strike's done. I go back to university the next year. Within a week, everyone's just on, focused on Frosh Week, partying, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
My brain just keeps thinking about, I got to go out there and make real estate work.
Yeah.
And this is 2010. So I behind my parents' back, I go and I completely drop out. I go to the office of the registrar and I just say, I want to drop out of school, this and that. They're like, are you sure? Do you have your parents' consent? I'm like, I don't need their consent.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I did some research before, right?
Yeah.
Drop out. I go home, tell my parents. My mom's a little upset.
Yeah.
For sure. Any parents would be, right? My mom and dad, they were upset, but their main upset thing was like, what are we going to tell our, your aunt? What are we going to tell your, because their whole thing is
society, status.
Society, bro.
Yeah.
It's all about, you care so much about what other people think.
Yeah.
Okay? But I told them, and my dad backed me up, and I'm like, Dad, look, if these guys can make money in real estate, why can't I? I'm like, let's go out there. I'll work hard, right? And let's just go do this. So he introduces me to one of his friends, and I joined a brokerage. I'm not going to name the brokerage.
Sure.
So this is before I transitioned. So I joined a brokerage. I remember him telling me, just go do open houses. Go to open houses. So I started doing open houses. I'm 18, shy, very shy. Not someone that could do what I'm doing with you right now. I could not talk in front of people.
Yeah.
I used to get nervous, right? So I'm shy. I have odds against me because I'm 18 and I'm trying to convince 45, 60-year-olds to come buy a property.
Yeah.
Right? And back then, there was nobody that was 18 that was in real estate. 6 months go by. I'm taking this guy's advice. I'm doing things, 0 deals. I'm driving people around on the weekends, showing them houses. No one's buying a house with me. And now the thoughts start coming in. Real estate's not for me. Automatically, you start thinking about giving up. You start thinking maybe I should go back to school. And I always believe things happen for, reasons. So it was around Christmas time, December. I happened to be at an event, right, with my dad again. And I remember talking to somebody who asked me, how's real estate? And I said, it's shit. And he goes, what do you mean it's shit? He goes, people are so successful in real estate. I'm like, I've been doing it for 6 months. I haven't made $1. And I feel like I'm no offense, but like a free taxi driver, just driving people around everywhere, right? On my weekends. So he goes, hold up. Let me put you on a phone call with somebody. He's very successful in pre-construction. And I'm like, I didn't even know what pre-construction was, Ron.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's pre-con? And he goes, he sells a lot of buildings in downtown Toronto. I'm going to connect you with him. You know what? Let me just call him right now. I remember this day. It was like December 16th, 2010. Okay. We talk on the phone right away. I'm like, the guy's energy, right? I was mind blown. Okay. And the things that he was talking about, and I'm like, shit, I gotta go meet this guy. And he told me one day, he just said that day, it stuck in my mind. He goes, Bikram, you're doing the wrong things. That's why you're not successful. It's not that real estate doesn't work. It's that you're not gonna work because you're not doing the right things to become successful.
Yeah.
Mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, wait, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, nothing. He goes, come by my office, let's meet. I go meet him. I'm a car guy. Like I mentioned, cars have always motivated me since I was a kid. He had a brand new Porsche Panamera. This is like 2010 when I think the Panamera was just released. So automatically I'm like, I'm just going to full ears, listen to this guy. He's successful, right? And he goes, Bikram, I'm going to go show a project downtown Toronto. Do you want to roll with me? I'm going to take one of my clients, just sit in the back seat, right? And he had just opened a new brokerage and it was like a boutique brokerage. It was just him and an assistant. It was 2. And he was for, 2 decades before that, a $1 million earner in Remax, okay? $1 million earner when your average price was like 150K, 200K.
Wow,
That was a lot of transactions he did, right? So I go with him downtown Toronto. He's selling Shangri-La. Okay, so this is Shangri-La in 2010, where your average condo is 200K. He's selling condos that are 1.2 to 2 million bucks.
Yeah.
My mind was just blown because firstly, I've never seen anything like that. I never grew up, going to those type of places. So I'm walking with him. I'm hearing him talk. I'm just like, holy, like it's just totally different than who I was listening to before. The next day, I'm like, listen, I'm going to transfer over to your brokerage. I'm just going to come work. I'll work for you for free. I'm like, I'll work for free, man. Just guide me, help me. I'm young. I'm motivated. I'll do whatever it takes. Right. So I transferred my brokerage over and he takes me to a project. Okay. He goes, listen, there's going to be a project coming in this area. I'm going to teach you on how to understand it. I'm going to teach you on how to learn it. Set up my expectations. He goes, you might not become successful right away. They might not buy from you. It might take a year, right? So don't get discouraged. I said, okay. And it was Lakeshore and Park Lawn. Okay. So Lakeshore and Park Lawn, we're still in 2010. Now we're around like New Year's Eve. So I'm like hustling around holidays. Okay. I learned about the project and how he was pitching it. And back then the pitch was 15 minutes away from downtown Toronto, up and coming area, half price of downtown Toronto. How can you go wrong?
Yeah.
Rents are the same as downtown Toronto. And I was like, that actually sounds good. Like I believe in it. You got to believe in anything you do, right?
Yeah.
And Lakeshore and Park Lawn in 2010 was an area that was not developed yet. was a lot of rundown motels along the strip where you see, you know, Marine Parade today, and maybe a few condo towers that were built, older ones, okay? I happened to be at another Christmas party that a mortgage broker invited me to.
Yeah.
TD guys. Everyone's like, what have you been up to? I'm like, good, man. I'm launching this project downtown Toronto. I'm literally talking like this guy. And they're like, oh, wow, we want to book one. And now I'm shocked because I don't know what the next steps are.
Yeah.
So I go outside, I call him. I'm like, listen, these guys want to book a unit, this and that. And he goes, okay. Go to the sales office, ask for this person, and she'll help you close them, right? So the next morning, so now we're towards now we're like New Year's Eve, okay? Sales offices are still open. You know how it is, right? We're on the way. I go to the sales office. I come in. The guy starts booking the condo right away. Like, I'm not doing much. He's just like ready to go. And I give a shout out to the sales girl that was at that you know, developer. She helped me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the one thing about our industry. You know, people help people, right? So she helped me close the deal. Next thing you know, my confidence is just different now.
Yeah.
Because now you just closed the deal,
yeah.
right? It's crazy how life happens, but a few days go by and another guy calls me from that mortgage event. So now we're in January 2011.
Yeah.
And he goes, Bikram, my friend bought a unit, but I want to come look at the building as well. Can you meet me at the sales office? I'm like, you know, even better. I'll come pick you up. We'll go together. Because the guy that I learned from always taught me those days, try to drive the client there because you can sell the vision on the way there. Like point out certain neighborhoods, you know, he even used to tell me take a certain road so you can show that, you know, what's happening on that street and how there's going to, you know, there's going to be transformed.
Yeah.
Strategy, right? Yeah. So I get there, we're in January 2011. He ends up buying, but his friends call him. Let's go have lunch. He goes, I'm booking a condo.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, where? And they're like, we'll come by. Two friends come, book 3 condos.
Wow.
3 condos sold in one day. I realized like, holy shit, I just made like 50 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, the commission was like, I think 15, 18K.
Yeah. And
I got excited. I'm like, I don't even think it's real.
Yeah.
Right? But all of a sudden I have this next level confidence. Now everywhere I go, I just start talking to people about this project. Everywhere I go. A month goes by, I ended up selling like 21 units.
Wow.
So January is now done, 21 units. Now the developer, obviously, you know how the business works, is like, you know, who is this kid, this and that, calls me for lunch. I have no idea what allocation means, right? I have no idea what, you know, would you be able to sell a floor if we gave you a floor?
Yeah.
I just said yes. I'm like, yeah, I can sell a floor, no problem. I didn't know how. I just said yes, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, we're launching phase 2, right?
Yeah.
We're going to give you, you know, what do you think you could sell? I'm like, what could you give me?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we can give you like 3 floors. I'm like, what is it, like 30 units? And they're like, yeah. But they're like, you know, you don't say yes and you can't move it. I'm like, no, I can sell it. Trust me. I didn't know how though. So I took the 3 floors. I go back home. I talk to my dad. I'm like, how are we going to move 3 floors? And right away, I'm like, listen, man, we're gonna get on every Indian radio station there is. And we're going to get on every Indian TV station there is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about these projects. I'm going to tell the developer that I'm going to invest money into this. Okay, but I need one thing from you guys. I need straight exclusivity for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Where if any other South Asian comes through, those days they did it. I'm like, if any other person came through, I want exclusivity for those 4 weeks because I'm putting my money out.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? I started going on every radio, every TV. I used to like literally sweat, bro. Like that's how shy I was. Like, you know, I used to be so scared to go talk about a project. I wouldn't even go to the studio.
Yeah.
I would do it from my car, from my phone. I'm like, can you guys just patch me in?
Yeah.
Because like this process would make me scared, right? So now it's February and bro, phone calls just start coming in, coming in, and they're all in Punjabi. And thank God I can speak Punjabi.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that I give credit to my parents. I learned how to speak the language fluently.
Would you say now you come from a family where your father, and correct me if I'm wrong, has a radio programming station and he owns a station as well in the radio. So I think at the time the radio stations were really prominent.
Very prominent.
Very, very prominent. If you wanted to get the word out, there would not be Facebook, it'd not be Google, it'd be the radio station.
It was radio.
Especially in our community because even then our immigration wasn't the way our immigration is then. And it's so funny. It's like we're just talking 14 years ago or 10 years ago. In such a short amount of time, look how life has changed for all of us. I want to back up a little bit on your story. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with your father because he's had such an influence. He's such an influential person, right? Mr. Bob Dosanjh. And we see him and we saw him last year as well when he ran for politics. And I'm sure that bug still hasn't gone away anytime soon.
Well, he's running Brampton East right now, Castlemore for the Conservative Party with Pierre Polivet.
Okay, that's incredible. Congratulations to him.
Thank you.
We definitely need a change in our governance this year for sure. So talk to me, what was it like growing up and having a father like yours, what was your childhood like? How were things at home?
Yeah.
Were they strict with you? Were they hard on you? Did they mentor you? Were they like a friend? And then you have two brothers as well. So how was their upbringing versus your upbringing, because you're the eldest in your family?
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what? Me and my brothers are extremely close.
Yeah.
All three of us.
I can tell.
We're, you know, we're like this, right? But our upbringing was, my dad was very strict. So my dad, very strict, because we weren't like, I was not a good kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Like when I was always in trouble in school.
Yeah.
I was always getting into trouble. They only know one way, right? It's just to be strict with this. Like, you know, just be strict.
Yeah.
Right. It's the Indian way. But my mom, on the other hand, was always very encouraging, right? Was very like, it's okay if it didn't work out. Don't give up. Be persistent. Just keep going. Maybe you have to cut out some friends. Maybe it's your company that's the reason why you're not doing well. It was never, she wasn't like blaming. She was never like putting me down, right? So I give her a lot of respect, because imagine if my mom always, you know, put me down. Now you have a upbringing, and I have some friends that have gone through that, and it's taken them a long time to recondition their mind, because they've always been told they're not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? So the relationship with my parents is amazing. Me and my dad are like best friends, right? But I also saw my parents struggle a lot, right? I saw my mom work, you know, factory jobs. You know, like I didn't like that shit, right? I actually hated it. So my mom worked factory jobs.
And how old were you at this time?
Probably a teenager.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So a teenager. I mean, even younger, but up to teenagers, she still worked factory jobs.
Yeah.
Right? And then my dad was, his original story is that he came here and he became a baker, baking donuts.
Really?
Right? In a factory. And he learned how to bake donuts. Then he started, you know, running a donut shop on Brown's Line in Etobicoke, okay? But I used to go with him all the time. So I spent a lot of time being in that donut shop and just seeing like work ethic, like working, like, you know, the guy would work like all night shifts, like just random things, like just working so much. So I just seen my parents they had a very strong work ethic, and they had like a not giving up mentality, right? But they weren't rich, they weren't successful, they're just making ends meet, right? But they're just doing whatever they got to do to provide for their family. Then my dad gets a little bit more ambitious and gets into opening his own donut shop. And it wasn't a donut shop, he opened a donut factory.
Wow.
And he started supplying 52 coffee times. Okay, wow. So he started to do well. 52 coffee times, but still constantly working, right? Because now you have employees, you have people that depend on you, right? And at the end of the day, you get paid last.
And you're still a teenager at this point,
still
right?
A teenager.
You're still a teenager.
Still a teenager, right? But I'm still there with my dad all the time.
Got it.
Right?
So you're helping out in the factory.
I'm in the factory. Yeah, I'm in the factory. I'm there on the weekends. Because I was bad, right? Literally, you know, always getting into trouble. My parents just didn't know any other way. They would just take me to work with them, right? So I was there, so I wouldn't.
What's bad in your eyes? Is it getting into fights? Is it disobeying the teachers? Is it just
disobeying teachers?
Disobeying teachers.
Yeah.
You know, not following the rules. You know, not governing. You know, under orders. Yeah.
Disobeying the teachers because, like, I think I was not hitting good grades. Some of those teachers just always used to be like, they literally used to even tell my parents. I have reports at home that I go through now and I kind of look back and laugh. What if my parents actually believe this shit, right? Or stories like your kid's like psychologically not okay, or your kid has behavior problems, or your kid needs ESL. Your kid's born in Canada. He doesn't need ESL, right? However, that's the stuff I'm talking about, right? But my parents, especially my mom, was mad encouraging.
Yeah.
Right? She's like, don't worry, you're going to be successful. She used to tell the teacher, my son's going to be successful one day and you're going to see. So I think that they always had that belief in me, but that's what I mean by bad. Like I wasn't a good student. However, it changed. One teacher believed in me.
Yeah.
Then I ended up going to York in scholarship.
Yeah.
I ended up becoming a straight A student.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's you need someone to believe in you, but your environment makes a big difference.
100%.
Right?
100%. And coming back to the story, and I really want to understand the dynamic because for me, my father's a very influential person in my life.
Yeah.
And it seems the same way for you as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, would you say your parents are proud of you now versus if they were before?
Oh, bro, 100%. 100%, bro. Without a doubt, right? Like, I look at certain things and I'm like, I was the one in a way that was able to change. You ever read The Power of One More by Ed Milet?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you read that book, you'll see that there's usually one person in a family that changes the generations, that changes it, right? And in a way, that was kind of me, right? And a lot of it was because of all the circumstances. I didn't even finish my story. My dad ends up losing, right? It ends up going through like a bankruptcy. Because what happens is coffee time is very big. Who gets big next? Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons comes in and wipes out coffee time, okay? So my dad's business goes from, decent to like done. Completely done, right? Losing money every month. He's supplying donuts to Coffee Time. Coffee Time's not paying him. He needs to pay his employees. So upside down, right? I didn't know none of this was happening. I found out way later on in my life, okay? But when I found out was the time when I got into real estate, because I remember just going through some mail, because I was very organized with my paperwork. So I remember going through some mail and I saw something where like my parents' house was like on literally power of sale.
No way.
Yeah, so they kept it a secret. They didn't tell me, right? But that was it. I saw that letter and I you know, I just said, F it, like not to swear. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna become successful in real estate. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna go make $1 million. I'm gonna go take care of them. I'm gonna retire them, and they can do what they want. They don't gotta work for money no more. Right?
And how did you truly feel at that point in time reading a letter? Were you more pissed off the fact that they never told you, or were you more pissed off the fact like this is happening, or you know, because it's a little bit of a breach of a trust at that point. It's like, man, all this craziness is happening.
You know what?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be straight up, I was not pissed off that they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
I was not. I was pissed off that it was happening.
Yeah.
I was super pissed off that it was happening. That was one of my big whys. That's what drove me. Like some people know, now I talk about it openly, but in those days, very few knew. That's why I worked. Like my work ethic was next level, bro. Like,
now I'm the eldest in my family,
Yeah.
and I also feel I have a responsibility to my family of being an immigrant in this country. Now I wasn't born in Canada. I was born in India. Came here, you know, couldn't speak a lick of English. I was in ESL for one day, and then later on realized I can comprehend everything. I just can't speak. And I read by reading books and so on and so forth, and the rest is history. And then speaking skills got a little bit better. And I always joke with everybody. It's like everybody tells me you can speak. You're up on stage. Or this. I didn't even know English when I first came here, but I always felt that no matter what, there's always a pressure of being the eldest. Would you say there's a big pressure on you for being the eldest? Did you always take that responsibility on your shoulders?
I always did.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you know what it feels like because you just said it, right? So being the eldest, you do have pressure, but it's good pressure because you need pressure to grow, man.
Yeah.
Right? You need pressure to go and reinvent yourself. Like you said, you were the guy that could not go there and speak. Bro, but you went and became that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Why'd you become that guy? There's something inside you. Yeah. Right? It has to do with that pressure, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I believe in. Right? Because like I said, I wasn't the guy that could go there and talk. I had to go and become it. And how do you become it? Practice, you fail, you practice, you fail, you practice, you fail. Repetitions. You get better. You build confidence. How do you build confidence? You got to go and overcome your fears.
Talk to me a little bit about failing. What's one of the lowest points in your life or in your career that has a significant impact in your life that comes back to you time to time?
28 years old. Maybe not 28, 29. So by that time, I, have sold thousands of condos. I've made a lot of money. I've built a substantial portfolio of real estate. Condos in downtown, multifamily buildings throughout Ontario. I bought my first hotel. We'll get into that too, because I always wanted to be someone that owned a hotel, just never knew how. But everybody can do it. It starts with the small dream and stay consistent. But the lowest point, bro, was me just becoming a guy that became comfortable, and I started chilling with the wrong people, and I started drinking a lot, right? And I always drank alcohol, but I wasn't like a guy that drank alcohol a lot. I had certain nights where, we all get messed up here and there.
Yeah.
But I remember around 29, it became like a thing.
And we had some fun nights too, yeah.
We had some fun nights too, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And it became a thing. It was around COVID too. So the world was shut down. I'm living like a great life. I'm happy. But am I really happy? I don't think so. Right? Because I feel like when you're drinking all the time, you're not really happy. There's something inside you. Right? So the lowest point is when I didn't even recognize who I was. When I was looking in the mirror sometimes, I'm like, bro, this ain't you. You're not an example of the person that did what he had to do to become this successful. Yeah. You're going to mess it all up. Right? And I think there was a few low points in my life where I had to like really realize, but alcohol, partying, drinking, going out all the time, chilling with people that, are super successful money-wise, but not successful in any other part of their life. Family, no. Relationships, no. Positivity, no. Empowering other people, no. But they make money. But bro, money ain't everything.
So what's your definition of success then?
My definition? Bro, it's multiple things. Family, okay? Making money, obviously, because you need to make money in order to provide a better life for your family. Yeah. Okay? Or even if you want to give back to certain charities or certain initiatives that you have, money's going to help you do that. Yeah. Okay? But being the best version of yourself, improving every single day, being able to inspire and motivate other people, Because at the end of the day, if you can touch somebody's life and they can become a better version of themselves, that's a priceless feeling.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean that's my definition of success, man. And continuing to grow, not becoming comfortable, not falling into the traps. And the traps to me are literally falling into the whole partying life.
Yeah.
Right? Some people might watch this and be like, yo, this guy's fried in the head. But that's because I've gone through it, bro. I've gone through the ups and downs. I've gone through like partying like probably most people will never party. Right? But I've realized that ain't it, man. And I learned that from seeing other people. Right? You could look at, Conor McGregor. They'll talk about it. You could look at Bradley Cooper. He talks about, like, there's a lot of people that go through their journey. And there's certain things that have to happen in life for you to be able to see things and appreciate things in a different way.
Before we move on this topic, I have a couple of things I want to ask you about your Unicity business and your real estate business and those side of things. There was a pressing question I wanted to ask you, and I said, next time I'm not going to call him and ask him. Next time I hang out with him, next time I see him. And so now that we're together, I want to ask you, you and the family ran a very strong campaign for your father as a mayor of Brampton. It was a very strong campaign. Yeah. The videos were viral. It was all over social media. If nobody knew who he was, they got to know who he was altogether. And it seemed like, man, it was like, okay, I guess we're seeing a big shift. And then when the results came out, unfortunately, there's always going to be a winner, and then there's always going to be, there's always going to be a winner.
100%.
And unfortunately, he was not a winner. Yeah. How did he take it? How did you take it? What was the conversation like at home? Yeah. What was the sentiment when the news broke out? I really want to know what that felt like.
So that news broke out when we were all together.
Yeah.
We were at, Banquet Hall right here in Brampton, Embassy Grand.
Yeah.
Shout out to Gurpreet Badda, good friends of ours, Simbasi, the family that owns it.
Yeah.
We were all there, right? So then when the news came out, I was definitely pissed. However, you got to remember, we ran a 40-day campaign for a guy that's never been in politics. For the guy that's never ran a campaign before. What we did in those 40 days is unheard of.
Yeah.
We knew kind of like, okay, we're going to go and we're going to push. We're going to push. We'll see where it goes. But that's not where we're giving up, right? We're just going to get the name out. And we're going to show that he's a man that's not there just for one run. He's there. After that day, the next day he was at community events. The next day he was shaking people's hands. The next day he was at wherever somebody in the community needed him, right? So yeah, it affected us, but we kind of already, we didn't see it as a loss. We saw it as a stepping stone. This is step one. He's, like you said, people that didn't know him now. Bill, he went viral, bro. And that's how he naturally, now escalated to becoming very close to Pierre. It's because he made a lot of headlines in the political world where politicians all around now Canada were noticing who he was. And because my dad is honestly a guy that is community first, right? So we're different. Because you truly gotta love being a politician in order to continue to do this, bro.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
It is not easy.
It's not.
The hours are all day, all night. The events that he goes to on a weekend, I'm talking about funerals, I'm talking about birthday parties, I'm talking about every wedding that's in Brampton he's invited to.
Yeah.
He goes, right? Because he actually loves it, right? And it's not even that, where people in the community need help, he helps them. Not expecting to make money, he actually just helps them from like his kindness of his heart.
During the campaign, you and the brothers obviously were at the forefront of handling the campaign.
Yeah.
You guys ran the marketing, you guys planned everything, you and the brothers, you guys were pillars. Do you ever feel like you failed?
No, zero.
Yeah.
Right? Because we already knew. Going into this, we knew that we are not in the political world. My dad's never been a politician before. Right? So now we're going against someone that's been a politician since he's a teenager. He's also done a lot in Brampton. I'm not going to get into details, right? However, we already knew, right? So we didn't seem like we failed. We actually seemed like, you know what? This is a form of success. Because if I tell you the numbers, bro, my dad, his impressions were over 40 million. You're talking about 40 million views in a matter of 30 days. I don't see that as a failure.
Wow.
Right? It's something we all ran in-house.
Wow.
And I give credit to my younger brother, Manveer. He ran that.
Wow.
Right? All those videos, executing those videos, getting those videos out, that was all him. And bro, you did that in a calendar month.
So you saw it as a stepping stone to the next part because you knew that, okay, this is the start of something. Now the name's out there. Anytime we run, we can circle back.
Yeah. Because for him, it wasn't like a one-time thing. To be honest, he always did want to run a federal election, and he wanted to run with the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
But at that time, he goes, I'm going to give the mayor race a full 100% shot.
Yeah.
Right? So why not? Let's do it.
you make a complete shift in the industry. You're known as a real estate guy. You're known as a successful individual. You're known as someone who creates waves. How old were you when you bought your first supercar?
21 years old.
21. What did you buy?
Bentley.
You bought a Bentley at 21 years old, and then you had
bought a Rolls Royce Ghost.
Yeah.
2013. I was 23, 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you bought a Rolls Royce at 23, 24, and then what'd you buy after?
After that, what did I buy?
Lamborghini. Yeah, you had a Lamborghini.
I was never a Lamborghini guy.
Yeah.
I was like Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, first my thing was a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Right? So I wanted a Benz. The first nice Mercedes I bought was an E-Coupe.
Yeah.
That was back in the day, 2000. Because remember, by end of 2011, I had sold 400 condos.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point now, it was like money was coming in.
Yeah.
Right? By the end of 2012, I sold another 400 condos.
Yeah.
Legit. So I've sold like 800 condos now, and I'm only 22 years old.
Wow.
And I mean, if we do the math, it's pretty substantial, right? And this was without a team.
Yeah.
This was me. I didn't have a social life, bro. All I did was hustle, right?
Yeah.
But at that point, I went out and I bought these cars. And my dad was like, "What are you doing? Don't go buy a Bentley." Like, obviously, bro, it's a big,
Of course, the 20
right?
And at that time,
At that time,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I listened to one of my mentors. I have two mentors in life. I have this one guy that taught me real estate sales.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's the one that shifted my mind. His name's Adnan.
Adnan, okay.
Right?
Broker owner of Cityscape, yeah.
Owner of Cityscape, Adnan Bashir. If I didn't meet him, I could say that I would not be thinking the way I think.
Incredible.
Okay, when I met him, my goal was 100 grand.
Yeah.
He looked at me saying, "What's 100 grand?"
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
And I was like, $1 million. I automatically, in my mind, had limiting beliefs that it's impossible.
Yeah.
So he made me shift my mindset to believe that everything that you're thinking that's impossible is possible, but you're telling yourself it's impossible.
Yeah.
He helped me reverse engineer that $1 million of commission into small steps. I'll give every single realtor watching this a lesson, and this will help you go increase your income substantially. If you want to make $1 million, he taught me to break this down. Okay, so at that time, the average condo that I was selling was $350,000. So it's 350, and we were making 4% commission. So it's 14,000 a transaction. Okay, and I'm sure Ron, you know this too. So you take $1 million divided by 14,000, 71 deals. Now this seems like a lot. Divide that by 12, 5 to 6 deals a month. Divide that by 4. So he said, Bikram, all you got to focus on is closing 1 deal a week. Forget about 70. Forget about $1 million. Focus on 1 deal a week. And I said, okay, I can do 1 deal a week, man. I can do this, right? Long story short, that's how I made my first $1 million. I was 21 years old.
Wow.
Right? And if I never met him, bro, I probably would have been 100 grand.
Wow.
Because I would have thought 100 grand's the number. Then it would have made maybe 200 grand.
Yeah.
Maybe 250.
Yeah.
Right? I would never thought $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? So it's because of this. And I applied this to everything else in my life.
Yeah.
I applied this into getting into commercial real estate. I also applied this into Unicity.
Yeah.
How did we scale it to doing over 100 million in our first year?
Yeah.
Bro, take it into small steps. Small steps that people can duplicate.
Okay.
That's how we did it, right? But I have to give a lot of credit to Adnan because he taught me this, man. He taught me this, right? So if you're a realtor out there right now and you're watching this, I would say figure out what that number is that you want to make, and don't set a realistic goal. Have a realistic goal, but have a goal that scares you. Have a goal that makes you work for it. Break that number down, and thankfully today your average commission ain't 14K.
Yeah, yeah.
Your average condo is $650,000-$700,000 today, right? So even if you're getting 3 points on that, you're making a lot of money.
So instead of 71 deals, you got to do 35 to 40 deals.
Bro,
now.
35 deals, you're doing 3 deals a month. And I'll tell you, we're in a bad market. Guess what? That's where you build a name for yourself, right? In a good market, yeah, it's great. However, you could be so good and you might not even be able to build a brand and a name because everyone's doing well. It's who can come out strong in a bad market. You actually have every opportunity right now.
Yeah.
Right? Because when me and you look back at kind of when we started, I think we didn't even know, but we were kind of starting in a bad market. Like 2010, 2011, 2012 was not a high market.
I sold B and C projects.
Yeah.
I sold, in order to get through the door, there was a whole list of platinums. I'm like, what is this platinums? How do I get to the platinum level? Oh, before you want to sell this stuff, you gotta sell this stuff.
Gotta sell it, man. And that's how you built your name. And they're like, you know what? Ron can sell. Ron can move this. You know what? We're launching this AAA building in downtown Toronto. Ron, we want you there. But if you didn't do that other stuff, bro, they wouldn't even call you. Yeah. Right? So to everyone out there right now, this is your opportunity, man.
So you got Anand as one of your mentors. Who's the other mentor?
His name is Ash. Okay. He's not a guy on social media. He's very low key. Nobody knows him. Yeah. Me and him, I've learned a lot from him, but me and him also, we butt heads a lot. Yeah. Okay. He taught me on how to invest. Okay. He was a guy that I met him 2012.
Okay.
Right? So I truly feel like my life has just been crazy because I just meet certain people.
Yeah.
And there's one thing, you can meet people, you can learn from them, and you can go home and do nothing.
Yeah.
Or you can learn and apply it. Right? Because there's gems. Right? There's things that you can learn from people that are 10 years ahead of you. You just got to pick up 1, 2 things, right?
Yeah.
So he taught me, and he goes, Bick, you're making money, you're young. Don't start spending your money. Don't start blowing your money. Start buying property right now. Stay at home with your parents. I could have moved out at 21, right? Stay at home with your parents. Go and start buying property today. At 37, he owns 700 properties.
Wow.
That guy's on a whole different level. I got to give mad respect to him. Self-made billionaire, right? I mean, owns thousands of doors today.
Yeah.
Okay. Also started off as a real estate agent, but he's the one that originally told me that from a real estate agent, in order for you to become something on a whole different level, you're going to have to transition.
Yeah.
You're going to have to transition from transactional based, because as a salesperson, we're transactional based. You're going to have to transition on how can you build a business that becomes passive and reoccurring.
Yeah.
So now your time is free and you can use your time to build your wealth.
Unicity
right?
comes into play over here now because that's the whole thing. So did people think you were crazy
100%.
when you did this? What was the sentiment? Like I remember, I'll share my own personal perspective. I'm on social media, okay?
Right, what the
and,
is this
and,
guy
and
doing?
I'm seeing Bikram, and all of a sudden Bikram is like there. Now, funny enough, we were in Italy together, okay? So we were in Italy together. You guys got to hear the story. So we're in Italy together. Every time we're having a meal, I see this guy ripping off these things. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, nothing. Just keeps me thinking. He's like, we're being so secretive about it. I'm like, what is this? Like, you know, I don't understand. Like, what is he on? You know, he's taking drugs. What the fuck is he doing? You know, you were taking this stuff, and then all of a sudden, boom, you start going on social media with this stuff. So you were taking this before.
So I've been taking it since 2014.
Yeah.
Right? I've been taking it for a very long time.
Got it.
One of my friends told me about it in 2014 and changed my life, transformed me. Like, you know, but if I show you a picture of me in 2014, I was 200.
You posted a few times.
I was like 290 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, high cholesterol, super overweight, because I was just constantly chasing deals and just eating like shit all day, right? So I started taking this product, right? Natural product that helped me significantly.
Yeah.
Now, my friend kept telling me, Bikram, come do the business. And I used to say word for word, bro, I sell real estate. I'm not selling this stuff, right? Long story short, I realized a very simple thing. At this point, my same friend was making, with this business, I'm talking over $1 million a month.
Wow.
Not in revenue. I'm talking profit, bro.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm talking 12 million bucks a year. And now I would be stupid not to understand how it works. So I said, okay, I have a question. I asked him, where did you grow it? Where did you build your market? He built it in the United States. Population is 300 million. You have a huge pool to play with. People need the product. But I asked him, where's Canada? Where's Canada with this product, right? Word for word. 300 people are taking the product. I said, perfect. That's all I got to know, man. Because we got first movers advantage. Nobody knows about it. We're going to be the ones that go out there and make it a known name. Because we have a product that works better than medication, that's Health Canada approved, okay? And it actually changes people's lives. You feel better. And if you have major, high cholesterol, diabetes, you're overweight, you're constantly tired, you have anxiety, you have bad gut health. Look at the population. Now, we might be healthy, you might be healthy, but look at the population. Majority of people are not. Majority of people are suffering with something. And I can get into deep details about it, but a lot of that is the food in North America. If you look at the food, majority of the food is processed. You can look at anything. The companies that control the food supply that comes into North America, it's processed food.
Yeah.
So you're not getting the nutrients your body needs. You're not getting the fiber your body needs, but you're just not getting what it used to be 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So you need products, natural products, to help you get the stuff that your body needs.
Yeah.
Long story short, I realized there was a missing link in the Canadian market. There was a product people needed. There was a population that needed it. Nobody knew about it. So I'm like, I'm going to go and I'm going to build it out where I'm going to connect it. Not by myself, with a team. Help others win, help others grow through a franchise model. So franchising meaning everybody wins. Everybody makes money. And that's what we did. That's exactly what we did. But I knew everyone's going to talk shit. I didn't give a shit, though. I knew the first video I drop is going to be like, oh shit, real estate's down now, this guy's moved on. And I'm just going to flat out say it. Even if I don't sell real estate, you're in the same boat as me. I got another 500 closings. So to put that into perspective, guys, there's millions coming in every year, regardless, right? On top of it, I own a fairly substantial commercial real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
So no, I wasn't doing it because real estate slowed down. Real estate's still my day one.
Yeah.
But I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
I'm a person that sees an opportunity. And I'm a person that realizes that if I can act on this opportunity before others can see the opportunity, well, guess what? You're the one that builds a trend. Just like pre-construction. When I got into pre-con in 2010, nobody was doing it. So a lot of my successes, I say I worked hard, and I did work hard, but I got to give credit to right time, right place, bro. I was in the right time. I was literally in the right place, right time. 2010 to 2017, anybody could have been in pre-con. You could have been shit at what you did. We know a lot of people that weren't great at what they did. Were they successful? Bro, because they were in the right place, right time. And a lot of it, if you were good at what you did, you just did that much better. So I realized that Unicity is a household name in Vietnam, in Korea, in Thailand, in Japan, in Singapore. They've sold $5.2 billion of it in Asia. They're big in the United States. I said, why can't I do it in Canada? That was my thought process. And I knew I was going to have to hear shit from people. And people were going to talk smack. But, if there's one thing about me, through my journey in life, I realized that I just don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I used to. I think we all start off that way.
Yeah.
I used to really care what people thought and this and that. But I realized, listen, just go out there and prove it. Go out there and do it. I made it a challenge to myself, right? Because I used to hear people saying, Bikram, behind my back, he's done well, but anybody could have done well in real estate. Okay, let's go do well in a whole different business, totally different industry, and let's go kill it there too. So that was a challenge for me. I wanted to prove to myself that I could when I put my mind to something, I can go become successful at it.
Yeah.
So long story short, Unicity today is something that, most people are now, they kind of know about it. Right.
I think that it's a fact. I think you and the team put it on the map.
Yeah.
If anytime somebody does think of Unicity, for me at least, if I ever see anybody using it or using the product, I'm like, Bikram is the one that started it, and that's a fact. And it's interesting because there were a lot of people watched on the sidelines. First they laughed, and then now they copy.
Now they're joining the team. Now they're joining the organization. And if I can give you some names, man. The people that are coming in today are very successful people that are very credible in their other businesses.
Yeah.
But now they realize that this is going to take off like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Right? Because usually the hardest part is establishing something.
Yeah.
That's when you're going to go through all the trial and errors, but the negative talk. Once you've built that, you enter a part where you're going through stability a little bit, but then it becomes straight momentum.
Yeah.
And when momentum kicks in, you go through the roof. Right? So the people that are coming in today, that are like, Bikram, I see a major need with this product. Yeah. I want to be a part of it. I mean, some of them off record are politicians on the federal level that are coming in, right? Some of them are extremely successful business owners in the GTA. These are people that are not doing it they need money, okay? Like my good friend, Vijay Kanwar. You guys can Google Vijay Kanwar. Founded KMH Cardiology. KMH Cardiology, 20,000 physicians work for this guy. Okay, if you go to Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga, his name's right there in the front, the Vijay Kanwar Emergency Center.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone who's super successful, sits on the board of MLSC, sits on the board of Pearson Airport, sits on the board of York University. He called me and he goes, Bikram, I've actually been using this product you're talking about. I love this product. It's done more for me than the 20,000 physicians. And he goes, you have something powerful here. I want to join with you. I want to grow this. And he goes, I don't need money.
Yeah.
I'm a very wealthy guy, right? But he goes, I want to impact the world in a positive way. And I want to do it with you. So think about that. Would a guy that's worth that much money come in, that sits on all these boards, would he ruin his name, brand, reputation? Hell no, right? But that's where the shift is.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen, but I knew I had to go out and do it first.
You're driving things forward, and sometimes people will be on board, and sometimes they'll be against it. But look, at the end of the day, nobody pays your bills other than you do.
100%.
So, what's next for you, bro? What's next? You got this great thing going. You've been buying up properties. You've been looking at land. You've just I think you did a hotel deal recently as well.
Yeah.
What's next? What's next in the big world of Bikram Dosanjh?
You know what? Next is to continue to do what I do, bro.
Yeah.
I love it. Every day is just fun. I want to take Unicity to a whole bigger level.
Yeah.
I'm not done. Right? To be honest, I still I just look at population, right? So I look at 15 million people in Ontario. I want to tap into 1% of that population, which is 150,000 people. We started with 300 when I started the business. Today we're over 12,000, which is in less than a year, right? So I want to hit that. From there, I'm taking it back to the United States because it is big in the States, but the States population is 300 million. We're going to grow it there, right? In terms of the real estate side, I just want to continue building our real estate portfolio. Right? And I've kind of transitioned it from, more res guy to now doing commercial just because you can grow more. There's more scalability, right? So, I mean, that's what's next, right?
Yeah.
Doing more of this, right? I love doing this because I remember when I started, and I'm sure you could relate, I used to try to find people that were doing things and try to learn from them.
Yeah.
Right? And that time, there was like YouTube, but there wasn't many people in our backyard. Like who would we find that was young that we could look up to in Toronto, in the GTA? There weren't many, right? So today I feel...
Or we didn't know about them.
We didn't know. We didn't know, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, because there was no real social media, right? So I enjoy doing this.
What's your greatest inspiration, man?
My greatest inspiration?
Yeah.
I think it's when I got into doing something called the method that I learned from another mentor, which is, and if I asked myself this 5 years ago, I would be like, bro, what the hell? I do breath work and meditation every single day. Okay? So I do breath work that gets me in a certain zone mentally, and then I go meditate. But the meditation that I do is a process called the method. And what that is just really me connecting with my subconscious mind and me visualizing. And it's not like you think, there's just certain images come into your mind when you're connected of who I can be. Like there's no limit, right? Like I want to be in the room with guys like Ed Milet. And I'm going to be there. I want to be in the rooms with Grant Cardone, right? So I think my thing now is just going to the highest level I can go. And, nothing's stopping me because I don't drink alcohol no more.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like that. I want to ask you, what's a quote that comes to mind that has stuck with you that you remember or that you always like to use?
I got two.
Please.
You cannot go where your mind has not gone. That's something that I've learned from also one of my mentors, but you got to see it. You got to see it. You got to believe it before you can go do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know what you mean because you know what I mean. Sorry, because I know you kind of also talk about that, right? We've talked about that, kind of believing in yourself and visualizing who you're going to be, right? So you cannot go where your mind has not gone. So that's why a lot of my videos are on, believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Believing in yourself. Okay. Another big one, which is on my phone constantly, is how bad do you want it?
I love that one.
Right? How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Do you want it or do you not want it?
Yeah.
Right? When your excuses come in and you get lazy, you get tired.
Yeah.
Bro, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Right? So those are two quotes, man, that drive me every single day.
I've really enjoyed our conversation and I've learned so much about you and seeing you now. I'm proud of you and I'm really happy for you and your success. I genuinely am and all the power to you. I want to finish off this podcast, Bikram, with a very big question.
Yeah.
Who is Bikram Dosanjh?
Who is Bikram Dosanjh?
To the world.
Bikram Dosanjh to the world. Well, Bikram Dosanjh to himself is a kid that was told that he's not going to be successful. Bikram Dosanjh is a kid that struggled a lot in school, in the traditional education system. Bikram Dosanjh is a kid that was able to overcome those odds and go prove people wrong. And in the process, prove to himself that he can go become whatever he puts his mind to.
I love that,
That's who I am, man.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in another episode of More Than a Sale. Till next time.